Today, we're talking bird feeders. If you are looking to attract a variety of feathered friends to your garden, then this video is for you. Sometimes when shopping for bird feeders, it can be overwhelming because there's a lot of different ones to choose from. But first, how do you choose the right feeders for your yard? Consider these factors. What birds do you want to attract? Research which birds are common in your area and what types of food they prefer. What kind of food do you want to offer? There are specific feeders for different kinds of food for birds, and some are easier to deal with than others. How much maintenance are you willing to do? Larger feeders require less frequent refilling, but all feeders need to be cleaned regularly. And lastly, your budget. Feeders and food for birds range in price, and some cost more than others, so decide how much you want to spend. And now we will take a look at some bird feeders and talk a little bit about each one to help you choose the perfect ones for your garden. Let's start with a classic, tube feeders. These are super popular for a reason. They're versatile and can hold a variety of seed types like sunflower seeds, Niger seed, and mixed seed. The multiple ports allow several birds to feed at once. They're great for attracting finches, sparrows, chickadees, and more. Now, if you're looking to attract those adorable little finches, especially goldfinches, you'll want a Niger seed feeder. These feeders have tiny ports specifically designed for Niger seed, which is a favorite of finches. They're also great because the small ports help prevent larger birds from hogging all the seeds. Similar to a Niger seed feeder, there are also sock feeders, which are nylon mesh bags that you can fill with Niger seeds and birds can hang directly on them. This is also great for if you're trying to keep squirrels out of your bird feeders. You may also find similar feeders called seed bells, which is the same idea, except they might have slightly larger openings for seeds other than Niger seeds. You can find both pre-filled at the stores, but honestly, it would be pretty easy and inexpensive to make your own seed bells or seed socks. Next up are hopper feeders. These are the big boys of the feeder world. They hold a lot of seed, which is great if you have a lot of birds or don't want to refill them as often. They're also good for offering a variety of seed mixes. They attract a wide range of birds from cardinals to blue jays to sparrows and finches. Next are platform feeders. These are the most open and accessible feeders. They're perfect for ground feeding birds like doves and juncos. You can offer a variety of food on a platform feeder, including seeds, fruits, and even mealworms. And for those clinging birds, we have suet feeders. Suet is a high-energy food made from rendered fat, and it's a favorite of woodpeckers, nuthatches, and chickadees. Suet feeders are usually simple cages that hold suet cakes. They're especially important during the winter months when birds need extra calories. And of course, let's not forget our hummingbird friends. You will often find hummingbird nectar for sale at the store. Do not buy it. Hummingbird nectar is literally just made of plain white sugar and water, and you don't need to add any red dye to the mix. Just 3 parts water to 1 part sugar and you're good to go. One thing to note about hummingbird feeders though is because of the sugar it can attract ants, but many hummingbird feeders come with an ant moat to keep them out. Another thing you want to make sure to do is to clean the feeders regularly because water, sugar, and heat can create a moldy mess that can be gross and hard to clean. Aim to rinse out the feeders every few days. And my advice is to also not fill the feeders up all the way with nectar. I'd fill them maybe a quarter of the way up to halfway. Because in the past, as much as the hummingbirds visited me, they'd rarely empty the feeders out when I filled them up all the way before they got moldy inside. Hummingbirds are such fun garden friends to see, and they can be territorial, but that also means you will likely see the same hummingbirds in your yard, and they will come to recognize you and have no problem coming up to the feeder for a sip of nectar right in front of you. In fact, when I am refilling my hummingbird feeders up, some will hover and wait for me to hang them back up so they can have a drink, and sometimes, if I take too long, they buzz around me and get in my face as if to tell me to hurry up. If you're on a budget, there are bird feeders out there that have a combination of different feeders. I have seen some platform feeders with small hummingbird feeders attached to them, or like the one here, it's a hopper feeder with suet feeders on the sides. So this can be a great way to save money on feeders, and it can also be good if you don't have a lot of room for many different types of feeders. Now that we have gone over different types of bird feeders, another thing to consider when shopping for them are the squirrels. If you also want to feed the squirrels, then go ahead. But if you don't want to feed the squirrels or you don't want them to hog all of the seeds from the birds, you can try a squirrel baffle, which can be used with bird feeders that you hang or put on a pole or stake. These create a barrier that squirrels can't easily climb or jump over, so it keeps the squirrels out and saves the seeds for the birds because squirrels can be really greedy and can quickly clean out a bird feeder. And remember, providing fresh water is just as important as food. Consider adding a bird bath to your yard to attract even more birds. So there you have it, a quick overview of the different types of bird feeders. I hope this helps you choose the perfect feeders and that you see many feathered friends in your garden.